Hello everyone. So in the last tutorial, we have seen that how do we perform CRUD operations in console applications using AddedOn.NET. In this tutorial, we will see CRUD operations using AddedOn.NET in MVC application. Okay, so again, if you remember, so we have talked about certain classes like connection class, command class, data reader class. Whereas connection class is used to establish connection with the database. The command class contains the command that you want to execute on the database, and data reader means which is used to store the records after the select query is fired in the database. So connection class, now why I'm not using the term SQL connection, I'm using connection word over here. Why? Because which specific class you want to use, it depends that what is the data source. If you want to connect with SQL Server, I will be using SQL connection. So the connection object, this is a part of AddedOn.NET data provider. It connects to the specific data source and opens a connection, establishes a connection between the application and the data source, and it depends upon the parameter specified in the connection string. The connection string, which contains the server name, database name, and the credentials, and the command class, it is provided in several provider specific varieties, including SQL command, OLEDB command, etc. To execute the command, that means if you want to run the command on the database, we have to call certain methods, and the methods will be execute non-query, execute reader, execute scalar, depending on the type of the command that you want to fire on the database. Execute non-query is basically used to perform insert, update, delete operations in the database. Execute reader is used when you want to return or when you want to fire the select query in the database. Execute scalar method is used like when your query will return a single value after the query is fired. In that case, we can go with the execute scalar method. Data reader object is also there. What is the purpose? Like when you want to run the select query in the database, it will return certain records. So those records are stored in the data reader object, which is stream based, read only and forward only, and which provides a connection based data access from the database. It contains one method read, which is used to read the records, and we can iterate using a loop if you want to get all the records from the database through data reader. The connection object has only one data reader at a time, and the read method, it retrieves only one record or one row at a time. Okay, so now let me start the practical part. We'll open Visual Studio first. And in this, we will be using MVC template now. So once it is opened, I will go to File, New, Project. And again, in this tutorial, we will not talk about any, I hope you know about the MVC architecture. I will simply show you the steps that we have to use here. And I will go with this template now, ASP.NET Core Web App MVC Model View Controller. So this is a project template for creating the ASP.NET Core application using MVC architecture, which will have the controller model views folder. The template can also be used to create the RESTful HTTP services, but right now we will only use it to create the MVC application. So let me give this some names, MVC app using AddedOn, and we know that by default project name and solution name will be the same. I will not change it as of now. Let me uncheck this option also. Once it decided, we can see a specific project structure. Why? Because we have chosen MVC template. So we can see different folders are coming here, controllers, model views. So again, if you recall, we can recall that in the console application, this file was used, program.cs, in which I've stored the connection string and all the methods, record operations were performed from this file only. But because this is the MVC application, so we need, like we can say, a web-based interface. So we will write all the code in the controllers folder. So what we can do, first we have to store that connection string. So the best place to store the connection string or any, like we can say, value that you want to use across the application, this is the best place to do that. So we can see this file is in the JSON format. So what we can do, I can store my connection string here. So connection strings. So this is a keyword. So let me give some name to my connection, and the connection string should come here in double quotes. So let me take it from this notepad file. So we can see this is the server name. This is the database that we need, and this I'm using this because I'm connecting SQL Server using Windows authentication. So let me copy this and we'll put this in this file over here. So this is the best place to store the connection string. And we can see that if we want to retrieve this, so we can see connection string configuration. Each connection string has a name specified by its JSON property name. So again, we can see that if we want to retrieve the connection string, so we need to use get connection strings with the I configuration get connection string method. This is the method that we need to call, that we need to use to access this connection string from this file. Okay, once it is done, now before we proceed further, I will create the database with this name in database also, in SQL Server also. So let me go to SQL Server over here. So I will say again, if you connect from here, we can see database engine. So this is a server name which I'm using in that connection string. And because I'm using Windows authentication, I've used that security true over there. Okay, so it is already connected. So let me click on new query. That will open a query editor over here. So I will copy the commands from here. I need to make a database with this name first. So I will go and will run this query here. So this will give me database with this name. I need to work in this. I will use the use CompanyDb name, which means that this database should become the active database now. And I want to make a table also here. So table name has to be inventory. This is the column inventory ID. That should be primary key and identity also. Primary key means that its value should be unique, cannot be null. And identity means that the value will be auto-generated. So there is no need for us to provide the value for this inventory ID. Product name, qtyInStock, reorderLevel, and AddedOn. AddedOn means the date on which the product was added to the stock or to the inventory. Let me run this query over here. So let me change, like this is misspelled product name. So let me run this query now. So we get a table here, and we can see that right now there is no record in this table. Now we need to perform the operations on this table. Which operations? CRUD operations, wherein C means create or insert, R means read, then we have U means update or edit, then we have delete, D means delete. We need to perform these operations but from the console application. Okay, so let me go to the project again over here. So now we can see, okay, once we, the next step should be that I should go to the models folder over here, because we know that this is a folder which contains all the classes. So let me add a class here with the name inventory. I will say add a class. The class name has to be inventory. So this class should actually be, should actually represent the table. So what I can do, I will add the properties which will actually, we can say, map with those column names. So I can say public int and then inventory ID. That's it. The shortcut is that I can simply use prop. So this is used, we can say it's a code snippet for an automatically implemented property. Simply write prop and press tab key 2 times. It generates a property automatically. And as a convention, I should use the property names in title case, because public members should use should be like written okay in camel case. So let me take the next column name, which is quantity stock. So this should be also in title case. Next is now reorderLevel. Now we are doing this because by default there is a mapping between the table and the class and the column and the properties. So DateTime. Then we have AddedOn this one. Okay, so the class is also written. So now we can again see that right now there is no link between this application and the database. Now once it is done, now I need to connect this application with database using AddedOn. So the first step for that is we have to install a package. So let me show you the project name first. When you choose this project name, we get the project file over here. This is CS Proj5. So we can see that right now there is no package installed. So what we can do, I have to go in the project name, right click, manage Nugget packages. Need to install a package here. Which one? System data SQL client. If you remember the steps, this package we need. So this provides a data provider for SQL Server, and it gives you some classes. The classes are connection, parameter, command. These are available in this package. So let me install this package over here. Install. Then we can say, okay, I accept. So we can see that this package is installed here, so that we can see in the project file again. Okay. So now let me add a controller also in the controllers folder. So we'll add a controller here. So we can say we'll choose this template. We'll name it as inventory controller. Okay. Now in this particular controller, so this controller will actually directly interact with the database, because like I said that we were not going to use any pattern over here. So basically we need to refer to that connection string, and for that I need to first add this I configuration. So this controller is actually dependent on this I configuration. So how do we inject it? We have to use dependency injection. So we will add the controllers, this constructor, and whenever it is added, so we need this object also. This concept is known as dependency injection, which means whenever the object of this class will be created, at that time we need this object also, which we are passing to this particular dependency. We are dependent on this now. Okay. Once it is done, let me add a method. So that will actually return the SQL connection. Why it's not coming? I need to import the package also. So we will say press control dot. It gives you that suggestion. We have already installed this package. SQL connection, get connection. So we will say return SQL connection, and it will come from that app setting file through I configuration. So I will say configuration dot get connection string, and the connection string name we have to copy. That name we will copy from this file, app setting file. This is the connection string name that we need to use. We'll put it here. So by using this, we are able to get that connection string. I've written into a separate method so that we will always call this method now. Okay. So this index is basically used to return all the records. This should actually display all the record from the table. So what we can do, we will again use using block. So this will actually call this function which returns the connection object using again SQL command. Command is equal to SQL command. And then we have to say command dot command text. So we need to fire this query. Select start from inventory. It needs second parameter, which is connection object. So that also we have to provide here. SQL. Let me change it to connection. This is also connection. Okay. Now we need to open the connection here, connection will open. Then we need to fire that query. Which query? Select query. For that we have to call function execute reader. And whatever records will come that I need to store in SQL data reader. It's object which contains the records once the query is fired in the database. And then we can use a property which is has rows. Basically gives you true or false. So if the records are there, we need to iterate. Otherwise, I will use the view bag. So view bag is used if you want to pass something from controller to view. So we can say there are no records and again return. Okay, so if there are records, so this property returns true or false. So if there are records, then we need to iterate. So I will say again, while reader dot read, so this method will read the records one by one, and then we need to store the record somewhere. So what we can do, I can have a collection here. I can say add a list of inventory type. And this inventory class, it will come from this namespace. It is in this namespace, this one. So we can simply press control dot, which gives you suggestions. So we need to import this package or this namespace. So I can say inventories, new inventories. So we have a list here. So if there are records, we need to iterate. And now I will use object initializer. Object initializer initialize the object. So I will say inventory, inventory, initialize the object. So inventory ID value will come from reader. 0 means first column and it returns in object form. So we need to convert this to int because this property is an integer. Second is product name. So we'll again say reader. 1 means second column. We need to again convert this to string because product name is in string. Then we will say qtyInStock. We need to again convert this to integer. So reader. We can also ID column names. So we can say reader 2, but there is no need to convert this to string. Then we reorderLevel. Again int. Then we can say reader and 3 means fourth column because the column name starts from 0. AddedOn, we need to convert this to DateTime. Then we have reader and the fifth column, sorry. This is known as object initializer. Then we need to add this to the this list inventories.add inventory. So once the records are there, we need to iterate and then we have to put all the records one by one to this list. And then we can say here we can say return to the view and we will pass this inventories list also from here. Okay, that means there is no need to this we can remove from it, which comes by default. Okay, so we have this method which will run this query on in SQL Server. And if the records are there, this property gives true or false. If it has records, we need to iterate and we'll put the records one by one in this list and we'll pass on this list to the view. Otherwise, from here, we have simply written a message in this view bag. There are no records. Okay, now we need to add this view for this action method. So we can see that right now in the views folder, we have 2 folders only here. So how do we add the view now? Simply put the cursor here, right click, we will say add view. We'll choose this template and then I will be using scaffolding. So I will use from here, this is the view name. I will not change the name. I will choose this template list. So list template means that will be, which basically gives a list of the records and based on which class is inventory. So this is known as scaffolding. So if everything is okay, it will actually build the project also and then it will generate a view which is basically like based on the inventory model. such view is known as the strongly typed view. So we can find that we'll get a folder also here with the name inventory, and this index.cshtml file will be there. Okay, we can see this folder comes and this file is also there. Okay, so if you run this debug without debugging, right now there is no record. There is no record. Let me close this. So if we simply go and write here /inventory, I'm getting this error here. Why? Because there are no records, but still it is iterating. Yes. So because this view was generated through scaffolding, we can see that there were no records right now, but still it is running this for loop. Okay, so the problem is coming here. So what we can do, let me simply, I will use that view back here now. So if there is no record, we can say if viewBag dot message is not null. This is not null. And we should display that. So we can simply display that message. So we can say display that message. So we can say viewBag dot message. Otherwise, let me put this here. Otherwise, so that should come to the else part now. Else, we should iterate through this loop, and this we have to close here now. Here. Now let me run this again now. Let me check what if there is a problem. So if, okay, so body should be, okay, so this loop should actually, this braces, okay, should be closing here only. Okay, so let me run this now. So there is no record, which means it should go to the if part now. So now we should get that message. There are no records. So again go. There are no records. This message is coming over here. Yes. Okay. Now if we want to see that what queries are getting fired in SQL Server, what we can do, I can go to SQL Server. I can open from here profiler tools. I can open this tools and profiler. Basically, this is used when you want to, like, whenever any query is getting fired on SQL Server from anywhere. So we can keep track of everything. Connect. I can say run. And if again you go to browser, if I simply refresh, so again that query will be fired. So we can see in the profiler now this query was fired. Select star from inventory. And we can see that this query was fired from .NET Core application, and we can see the username also. Basically it tells we can keep track of whatever queries are getting fired in SQL Server in this database from anywhere. Okay. Okay, so we are done with the read part. Let me again go to the application here. Now we will talk about that how do we insert a record. So let me create the action method for that. So I will say again public. So let me check. So this is closed here. Okay. So let me add it here now. So we will say public action insert create. Okay. So I will simply say return view. Yes. So we need to add a view, okay, for this action method now. So I can simply add the view like this. I can say right click, add view. Again, I will choose this option and I will choose which template now from here create. Basically, we will get a form now. That should be based on this class. So basically we will get a form which will have the text boxes, and also we will get a submit button over there. Click on add. Depending upon which template we use, we can find the form depending upon that only. So we can find that one more view will come in the inventory folder here. The name create.cshtml, this one. Again, we can find that we get a form here, and we can find the labels, input, the text boxes are also available over here. And at the end, we will find a button also here. This button is also coming. And when you click on submit, submit means that when you click on submit, so the form values should go to some action method. And let me again go to the inventory. Let me run this application first. So when you run this application, again go to this, create new. So we can see that this form is coming. Yes, but we can enter the values also here. Suppose I enter here a t-shirt. I enter the quantity in stock is 90/30, and then we suppose give the current date also here. But when you click on create, so we are actually firing the post method. This form should be posted to some action method, and by default the action method is same. Like the method name was create, it will by default go to the action method with the same name. And also one more thing, so we do not want to give inventory ID here. Yes, because this is identity. So what we can do, I can go and we can comment this part from here. We can comment this part because we don't need to give value for the inventory ID. Yes, I pressed Control K C. Once it is done, let me again go to inventory controller. We need to add one more action method, the name create again, and which will have that inventory object also. Yes, but this will be fired when the form is actually submitted, when we submit on that form. Okay, so what we should do now, again we need the same steps using SQL connection. Connection is equal to new connection using SQL command, and then command dot, okay, command dot command text, command text should be insert into table name was inventory, and we should provide the value for the, we should give the column names also here. So the column name, first column name was product name, and this will basically, we should basically match all the column names. So let me copy the column name from this notepad file only. So we have to give the quantity in stock. So quantity stock, comma, then the next column. This is a problem in AddedOn. Yes, because there's a mapping between the columns and the properties. We need to check it every time. Column names. I'm not giving value for ID because it is auto-generated. Then we will close it here. Then we can say values at the rate. Let me copy it from here only. This is quantity in stock. Then we have reorderLevel. Then we have this. So this has to close here now. This is closed here. The query is closed here. Let me check the query first. Yes. We have the connection. Then we need to give the value for the parameters also. So command dot parameters add the value. So value for at the rate product name will come from product name. We have to use here double quotes. Then we have command dot parameters dot add value. Second parameter is quantity in stock. value will come from inventory dot quantity in stock. Next one is reorder level. The last one is added on at the rate, and at the rate will come here also, and it will come from inventory dot added on. Okay, once it is done, then we can say open the connection, and then we can say command dot execute non-query. This method will be used. Then we have to say connection dot close also, which actually I forgot to close with the index action method. So let me do it here also. Here. So while is closed here, here. So connection dot tools. Okay. So once it is done, then we need to. Okay, now we need to display all the records. So I will say read to action. Basically, we need to go to the index action method from here. Okay. Now let me run this again now. So there is a form. So we can see that inventory ID will not come here now. So product name is suppose t-shirt, and just check that profile it is also running right now. It's already running. So we should be able to see that insert query here also. So quantity in stock is 90, 30. Let me give the current date here. I will say, suppose this one, create. Click on create. Okay, it's giving some error somewhere. Connection string. Okay, let me check. Okay, the problem is here. Yes. So basically we were to like call that method get connection. That will not return that connection string, that connection object from here. Let me run this again now. Again the same form we should have now. Yes, can we see? So this query was fired, and we can see that query will be displayed okay here also. So we can see insert into inventory column names, and the values are also coming over here. And then select star from inventory is also executed. And we can see that that record is coming here now. Let me add one more record. I'm not giving value for the ID. Change it to browser. So suppose 20. Great. So we should get one more record also here. Okay, cool. But right now these functions, these buttons, okay, will not, these links will not work. So because we need to write the code, okay, for them also. Let me again go to the project. We'll add two more methods here. One will be for delete and one will be for edit. So let me write method here, public edit. Okay. So before that, let me write a function here for details. It will actually give me one record. So what we can say, again, same steps will come. Sql connection, get connection, SQL command dot common text is equal to select star from inventory where ID is equal to ID at the return. And this should be the column name. The column name was inventory ID. Let me again check it from here. Column name has to always match. This was the column name. We are searching the record based on the ID. Okay. Connection, then we can say command dot connection is equal to, this is command dot connection property which will initialize to this connection object. What next? Then we have to again open the connection. Again, I will say connection dot open. Again, command dot execute reader. Okay. Again, one record will come that we need to again store in SQL. Okay. Again, we can check if reader has rows, which means it has record, and now there is no need to iterate. Why? Because there should be only one record here now. This is select. So what we should do, I will simply say reader dot actually read the record, and then we can say initialize it here. Yes, let me copy that from the previous method. Basically, we need to initialize that object, this part. Okay, once it is done, then we can simply say here return to, and we will also pass this object. Else we can say in view tag dot message. There is no such record. Okay. This if is closed here, inventory closed, to close the connection also here. Let me run this application again. Okay, before that we need to add that view also for this. So let me add one view for details also here, add view. We'll again choose this template. We'll choose from here this details template, and we'll choose the class inventory from here. Let me click on it again. If everything is okay, so we should get a view for details action method also. There was an error in the code. We build the action first. Okay, now let me again go to this action method here. Right click, and we'll again say add view, razor view. We'll choose from here details template, this class, click on add. scaffolding is going on right now. Okay, so let me again run the application from here. So three functions are working: index, then we have create and details. Let me again go. So details should also work now. If again go to details, so we should be able to see, okay, we're getting some again error here also. Okay, so we missed one more part over here. So we missed to pass value for that this. So we have to say command dot parameters dot add the value for @ID will come from ID. This was missing. Let me run this application again now. We'll again go. Let me refresh. Okay, so we're missing one more thing. Let me again go. This is happening because of this scaffolding. If you go to index view, we can find at the end, because these links are coming from the index view. Yes. So these links are actually commented. So let me delete okay from here. This should be inventory ID. This is also inventory ID. So it was actually commented. So this is also inventory ID. Let me again go to the application now. Again go to here. If I click on details, I should be able to get this record now. Again, ID is not coming. Let me go to the controller, details. Inventory ID is okay. If we run this application again, when you click on details, so this ID should be passed now. Yes, I'm able to get that record. If you again click on back to list, because this will actually call the index section method. So again, we can see it is also working details, getting this record also. Edit. So now we are left with two like more functions, delete and edit. Let me again go to the controller over here. We'll add two more action methods for edit and for delete also. So let me first check details over here. I'm just copying the code okay from here, because for this again we will do the same thing. Yes, like it is against the dry principles. Let me just copy this part. You have to, when you want to delete the record, we'll again first find that record. Sorry, this has to be to copy from the select part from here. Yes. What we can do, because in details, edit or delete, now we need to write the same logic. So what we can do, I can just cut this part from here, and we can add okay one more method here. I can say this inventory search in ID. That logic should come here. So let me again take this code. So inventory search in ID using SQL connection. This is okay if it has rows, but now we need to return okay from here. What we need to return And let me declare it also at the, let me copy this part from here. Okay, so this if is closed here. Okay, yes. Now I've written it like in a separate method. Why? Because we need to call it multiple times. So I will call this function here also. We can simply say invent search, and we will pass it state. Then we can say if inventory is not null, else we return this message to the view. Okay, so this else is closed here now. So there is no need to write, okay, these two bases over here now. Okay, and we have to write the logic, okay, for delete also. So this will be also the same only. So let me copy this part also, because for delete also first we need to see the record. Okay, so let me add, okay, one more view for this also. So we can simply say add this tracer view. We'll choose the template from here, delete this one. Based on which class? Based on inventory class. Click on add. Okay. Again, you can find the delete also. Look at this like form here. So let me again go to the inventory controller. We'll add one more action method, public. This will be delete. Let me change the name of this from here. Suppose deleted. And then we can simply use the same object here also. So again using SQL connection is equal to get connection using SQL command. So command text will be delete from inventory where inventory ID is equal to entry ID. Command dot connection should point to this direction. Again, open the connection and should say command dot execute one query. Close the connection dot close. So just using this close here, this is closed. And it should say again return redirect action will again do from here to the next action with that. Okay, so I've written, okay, one more method, and we have to again write here HTTP post. So once the user submits on that delete, okay, when you again go and run this application first. Again run this. Let me again go to the browser. So details, let me check. Details working. Back to list. Delete. First we should okay get that record. Yes. And when you click on delete, at that time this should actually post. But to which action method? Delete it. I've changed the name okay from there. Yes. So what we should do for that now? So but we can say that by default the action method is also same. I will change it from here to delete it. Okay, so it should go when you submit. So we should go to this particular action method now. Let me run this again now. So deleted. So when the user clicks on that delete button here, so it should actually go to deleted. Click on delete. Again, we missed okay that part from there. What part? This. So command dot parameters add with the value for @ID will come from ID. We run this again now. Start with dot debugging. Okay. So what I've done, I just changed like this, okay, from here, like from ID, okay, to inventory class. So when you click on that submit button and delete, so I'm getting that object and I'm passing this ID, okay, from here to this parameter. So delete from the table where inventory ID is equal to @ID, and the value for this parameter will come, okay, from this object dot inventory ID. Let me run this application again now. So if you go to browser again, I'm getting the records, click on delete. So I'm able to go to that delete view from here. This will call okay that again it is not getting fired. Let me check that what query is getting fired here. Okay, so the value is coming from the parameter. Okay, we can see it's coming okay 0 from here. Let me check in the code again. ID. Let me check in the view from here. I can change something in the code here now. So this was the view. So what I did when you click on the submit button, so we need to go to this action method now, and I've taken okay this input type hidden. I've given the name ID and I'm also like pass value of the inventory ID over here. And then when you go to the controller, I'm receiving that ID here and I'm passing this ID as a parameter okay here. Now let me run this application again now. So debugging. Let me run this application now. The browser. When you click on delete, so you click on delete here. Connection was not closed. Line number 158. Okay, this is the problem here. I've written it 2 times. Okay. Run it again now. So refresh. We can see. So that record is deleted now. And we can again see in the profiler. So the query is being fired. Delete from table where ID. So that ID is also getting passed here now. Yes. So this was about the delete operation. So now we're left with the edit operation. Let me again go to the controller here. The same, okay, I will write one action method for edit, this one. So let me copy this part from here, this one. We'll write it here. This is for edit now. Again, we need to first find the record. Once the record is found, then we need to edit that record. So public again. Action result edit, but we need first 2 parameters. One will be ID, other will be that object, dated object. as an inventory object. Green saving steps will come using SQL connection is equal to get connection. We need to use here so okay. SQL connection using SQL command is equal to SQL command dot context. This should be update inventory. Suppose I want to change the quantity in stock. Let me copy it from this notepad. I want to suppose change these columns only. So we'll again go. We'll say quantity in stock is equal to at the rate quantity in stock reorder level this and AddedOn with at the rate we process connection dot parameters add with value. So let's for the parameter quantity in stock. This will come from inventory dot quantity stock command dot parameters dot add with value for this parameter. We have to use at the rate here reorder level. This will come from inventory object dot reorder level value. Command dot parameters add with value for AddedOn at the rate will come from inventory dot added dot parameters add with value ID will come from ID. We need to write update inventory set quantity stock with this reorder level with this. We have missed okay that part. Which part? The inventory ID is equal to added ID. Okay. Once it is done, then we need to pass command for connection. Look at the connection here. Then we will say command dot execute non-query. Then we can say connection dot close. So using block is closed here. This is also closed here. Return to which action method now? Bloody from here to the index action method. Yes, okay. Let me add view for this also. We'll again say right click, add view. We'll choose this template. We'll go with in this edit template from here based on inventory class. Add. Again, if everything is okay, it will build the project first, and then through scaffolding we can get that edit view also. Okay, let me run this now. So let me again go to this still loading. Yes, edit. Okay, so again we missed one thing. We missed that HTTP post. here. Again save it, run it again. So edit to. Okay. So we cannot change the ID over here. Let me change the quantity stock to 100 now. This is to 30. Click on save. We can see it is changed. And we can find in the profiler also that the query update was fired. Yes. Okay. So with this, we are able to perform all the CRUD operations in MVC application using AddedOn. I've just tried to make this like a demo very simple. We just used one search method, which was actually returning the record, which I was using in the details, this method, which actually I was using in the details, edit and delete action methods. And we also make use of the profiler to see that what queries are getting fired in the SQL Server. Okay, so no pattern was used here. I will upload this project. Let me show how do we add the project also to GitHub or GitLab. What we can do, I can simply say add to source control, can choose this get from here. If you want to upload project to GitHub directly, I can simply give the project name, this one. Can make it public, and then we can click on create and push. It will directly push the code from here to GitHub, and this is the repository name. But if you want to push it to GitLab or somewhere else, I have to go to this option. And in that case, the repository has to be already there. As of now, we click on GitHub only, and we'll choose create and push. And this code should be pushed to GitHub now. I will share the link also in the reading section. So thanks for watching.